Welcome to episode 45 of the Seagrove session, memories and stories from people attending the Seagrove Centre in Edinburgh. This time round, we hear from Diana. Her upbringing in Kilburn, North London, being adopted at the age of 3 weeks, and the difficulties as she grew up of being in the same area as her birth family. Her love of Scotland, holidays spent with her Scottish grandparents, courting, getting married, and living abroad in Singapore and South Korea. Her return to her beloved Scotland. As always, great stories. Enjoy.
I was born in Paddington, which is near Kilburn, where I was brought up. My birth name was Coventry, but then, as I say, I was adopted and my name became Netherton. I was 3 weeks old when I was handed for adoption. In those days, they did it all different to they do now. And the parents turned up 2 days after my mum and dad had brought me home with a lovely big rocking horse to give to me. Now, my dad was 6'8". He'd been in the Horse Guards, and as he used to say, "Get out of here or I'll give you a bunch of fives."
Goodness, that's exceptionally tall, isn't
He was very tall, he really was. My mum wasn't that tall, bless her, but... oh no.
So obviously you had no memory of your birth parents, did you at all?
Not at that point, but as I grew up, in those days you could be adopted in the same area. So consequently, their children went to school in a place called Carlton Vale School. I went in Salisbury Road School. And you would bump into them at different times, which became a bit awkward. But there was nothing you could do. And people would come up to me and say, "You're a Coventry." I am not a Coventry, I'm a Netherton. And then they'd ask me things like, "How's your brother Derek? He's in the nick, isn't he?" And I said, "I haven't got a brother Derek." So it was a bit awkward.
So how many were in your birth family then? How many?
Well, my brother was, I was number 9, my brother number 10. We were both put up for adoption. And they continued after that to have 2 more. So overall they had 12.
So I would imagine a rather troubled family.
Definitely.
Yeah. So in many ways adoption was a blessing.
It was the best thing that ever happened to me as far as I'm concerned. Because over the years, because of living in the same sort of areas, you did hear or you bumped into them. Or they deliberately went out of the way to come into you.
Really?
Oh yes. I mean, when we first got married, my husband was still a student. Consequently, we didn't have much money and we were expecting our first child. So if I went anywhere like Boots the chemist, it was a big place, this one, and as you went in the door there was a lovely place with perfumes and everything, and because I just looked, couldn't afford to buy anything. But this girl would often say, "Would you like me to squirt some perfume at you?" Turned about to be one of my sisters. And she'd been doing that. She'd obviously recognised me, but I didn't recognise her. So it was a bit awkward in those respects, and over the years that often happened.
So it's an interesting, because my father always used to go bloody stick in the water, you know.
That's right.
But obviously you felt no pull or...
No, nothing at all. Nothing. How can I say? I was never rude to them.
No.
But I just didn't want to know. If I saw them coming and I spotted them, I'd turn the other way. Because, as I say, they'd make my life difficult. I'd be walking along with one baby in the pram, one at the side, and they'd deliberately walk into the front of me. So your first reaction is you walked into somebody.
Yeah.
And I'm saying sorry, then I look up and realise it was them. "Oh, this is your mother and this is your sister." So one of the days when they did it, I said, "No, you're not my mother, and I haven't got a sister. And I'm now going to buy the biggest bunch of flowers I can afford to take home to my mum, because she is my mum, and always will be."
That's lovely. That's lovely. So let's talk about then That was your birth family. Let's talk about your real family. Did you have brothers and sisters?
No, it was just me.
Oh, right.
And I say it wasn't the easiest upbringing, I suppose, because of all that was going on.
Yeah.
My father's mother, my grandma, owned houses, 3-storey houses. We lived in one, which obviously we didn't pay rent for.
No.
But the other ones, my father collected rent from. Now, as I say, a 6'8" man knocking on your door, asking for your rent, when some of these people were very, very poor.
Yeah.
And threatening them, if you don't pay your rent by tomorrow.
Right, okay.
Yes. That was very difficult. So the children didn't want to play with me.
Oh,
I'd come out to play, they all went away and played somewhere else.
Oh, dear.
So it was difficult.
So you were an only child who was pretty much on your own a lot of the time?
Definitely.
Yeah. And this is why, I mean, you've told me this before, you don't have any affinity or liking for that,
No.
or London, or
No,
that.
I'm sorry, I don't like London at all. I once said to somebody I hated London. They were quite angry with me because they were from London and thought I was being nasty. It wasn't that. It was all that had been happening while I was there.
Yeah.
I said it didn't help then to say my father collected the rents. And the 3-storey one we lived on the bottom, but the top 2 were rented out, the 2 flats. Well, rent like bed set and a kitchen sort of thing, and then there was a bathroom sort of on the first floor. You had to go down to that sort of thing.
Right.
And of course, my dad decided to run away with one of the ladies out of the house, leaving her husband behind, which didn't help either.
Oh, God, in the same house?
Yes. So my poor mum was left. All right, she then got the house we were in, and the rent was given to her. You know. But then again, we lived downstairs anyway, so...
What, if you don't mind me saying, a bizarre...
It is a very bizarre. And when you try to tell anybody, they think you're making it up. And I promise you I'm not. Well, I don't know if I should say what my mum used to call her. But she used to call her Fanny, which didn't help and things like that. Her name was Bonnie, really, but she wasn't Bonnie to us.
No. So did your mother... How did she ultimately do it? Did she find somebody else? Or?
No, she didn't really. She had friends and a couple of family. But the family all lived up in Scotland, so that was more difficult. We did see them, let's say Easter, summer, October holidays for school. We spent up there on the farms for my auntie and uncles, and that was the best thing ever.
So whereabouts in Scotland?
I was up at Tarland and Brecon and up that way.
Oh, yes.
And I had an auntie in Aberdeen. I haven't got love for London. My love for Scotland has always been there.
Yeah. Well, how old were you when you left school?
You were 15 in those days, 14 going 15.
Did you like school?
It was okay, again, because I kept facing people. Although they weren't related to me, they knew them. They knew so they'd make remarks to me about it, which made it a bit awkward.
And what must have been so annoying, that's not actually your history, you've nothing to do.
No, I know, but everybody threw it in my face sort of thing, so it was difficult.
So what did you do? What was your first job?
A hairdresser. And I remember in those days you went up to see the teacher, it was a male teacher, and he said, and what do you want to be? And I said, I'm going to be a hairdresser. He said, you silly little girl, go and sit down. Nobody needs a hairdresser.
What?
I wish I could have gone back and said,
Yeah.
I worked in Knightsbridge, next to Harrods.
Gosh, so that was quite a clientele you would have had there.
Oh yes, Lady Sainsbury, Lady Knowles, Lady all sorts, you name them, they were there. And what it was, my uncle worked in Harrods, he was a doorman. And he knew through my mum they wanted to be a hairdresser.
Yeah.
So he said they're looking for an apprentice. So he went over and booked me in an appointment, and my mum took me there, wearing a mink coat, which really helped because in those days my auntie and my mum would go into Harrods. They couldn't afford anything.
Yeah.
Go around while the sales were on, watching, and my uncle would watch until something really came down. And then with his, whatever they got off theirs, that's how they got their clothes. Not very often. It was a mink coat they were after.
So you've told me some great stories about the hairdressers you worked in.
Oh yes.
And particularly the two people that ran it. Tell us about that.
Oh yes. They were called Valentino and Rita, which wouldn't have been their real names. And especially Rita, she was very posh. Spoke very posh like this, and she looked down at people as if she was better than anybody else. And this particular day, I was sweeping the floor, and we had a chute thing where you push the hairs down. And I was standing with the broom in front of me, but from the back she thought I was standing on the broom. So she shouted out, "Get off my broom!" which went down very well with all the posh ladies sitting there, all looking. So she was very, very embarrassed. And it was her own fault for what she did. I was not standing on the broom.
That's brilliant, isn't it?
Oh, it was. There were some daft things like that. And
so what did your job entail? Obviously a lot of sweeping up hair.
Oh yes, when you started, that's what you did. You swept the floors and tidied up and what have you. You got taught how to wash hair. And then from there, as you progressed, they would send you on courses.
No.
So I that was the one thing about it. I got sent on all the courses. In those days, perming and tinting, you had to go on courses, not be taught by the hairdresser herself.
Okay.
And I was sent on all the courses, and manicurist, beautician, all those things. And that was down to them. They paid for all that.
Wow.
So I really got everything out of it that I really wanted. So I couldn't have fault that at all.
Because you wouldn't have got much wages at all.
Oh no, the wages were very low.
And did you get tips?
Yes, we did. If it was handed to Valentino and Rita, they kept them. But depending who was sitting at the table at the door, if it was one of the girls or higher up girls, they would keep it and give it to us.
So it was that sort of, because obviously I don't really go into hairdressers, but so it was a big salon then, would it?
That's right. Oh yes.
Somebody would handle the money separately.
Oh yes, it was handled by somebody else altogether.
Right. Okay.
And you had the male hairdressers, or it was mostly male ones, other than Rita herself and that. They were sort of in charge of the likes of us. Right. They'd be called over to take the person to wash the hair or whatever, or if it's being tinted or permed or anything like that, they'd say, well, so-and-so is going to get this done, can you take us through and do that.
And we'll give this some context of time, what sort of roughly year were we talking about?
Oh gosh, well.
You'd be born in 1950.
I was 49, I was born in 49.
Okay.
And I got married in, 69?
Right.
68.
So you started the hairdressing when you were 15. 19. So about 1965, 4-5, you'd be in the hairdressing.
That's right.
So that was at a time that was quite strong styles at that time.
Oh, definitely. And the perms were all done different to they are now. Like a plastic bag over their head and all sorts. It was quite weird. I mean, we were used to it because that's what you did. But when you see it done now, you think, oops, that's not the way it was done then.
God. And I always remember, I must have been in hairdressers with my mum when I was very wee.
That's right.
Probably about that time. You always had these big dryers that went over the head.
That's right. Oh, yes. Great big dryer things. Oh, because you had to trail them along and all sorts to get them. Well, in there they did. Other places probably had them set up in a corner or whatever.
Yeah.
But,
and your customers, were they quite nice to you?
The majority were. There was one or two that thought, you were beneath them. You were only there for shouting at or moaning at. And if you dribbled a slight drop of water, not necessarily down their face or anything, but they'd moan at you as if you'd poured the whole bucket of water over their head.
So did you go on, you said you got married in 1969, did you stay in that salon or did you move on?
No, I left then because I was already pregnant.
Oh right.
So what happened then was Owen was still, he was at college, he was still finishing off his training and everything else. So what we used to do was I would work on a Saturday in the likes of British Home Stores.
Oh, right.
And he would have, it was Christopher then, and continued that for a good while. Then I think Chris had been about 9 months. He went into nursery, so I could go back to. Again, it was doing not quite full time, but full time at it was the co-op at that point.
Oh right, so you'd left hairdressing basically.
Oh yes, I left the hairdressing, and at the co-op I worked. The optician, I was at the table helping out.
Oh right.
And then the optician that closed down there, so I went down onto the floor, and that was the knitting wool and sewing needles, things like that. Quite enjoyed that as well, because you met different people, and they'd come and show you a picture of what they want to do, knit or sew, and they'd ask you what's the best sort of thing to use.
And where was that?
That was in Kilburn.
So where did you meet your husband?
In Hammersmith Pally.
A marvellous venue from what I hear.
It was. And this particular day I've still got a lovely friend called Bet. But the guy she'd been going out with for about 4 years suddenly announced, I'm getting married next week. And it wasn't to her, obviously.
Wow, that's a bit brutal, isn't it?
It was. So she was very against, he was an Irish guy. So she was very against that. So this particular night, Owen came up to her and says, right ladies, which lady's going to get up to dance? So my friend turned around and said, none of us, go back to Ireland where you came from. I said, Bet, he's not Irish, he's from Scotland, he's a Scot. So he said, that's the first person that's ever called me Scot, so I'm Scotch. And I said, no, you're not Scotch, my mum's a Scot.
Yeah.
And in those days, ladies would stay downstairs and drink maybe Coca-Cola or whatever until you met a gentleman. Then you went upstairs because they paid for your drink.
Isn't it amazing? And it was still like that.
Oh yeah. And I think the funniest bit was my father ran a fish and chip restaurant in Hammersmith.
Oh right.
And Owen lived quite near there. So this particular day, met up and he says, right, I'm going to take you to the best fish and chip restaurant in Hammersmith. And I thought, no, this can't work, because I hadn't told him. And there was at least 7 of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and got to 6. I thought, no, what are we going to do now? Anyway, so he walked in and we walked up to the counter and we ordered the food. And as I say, it was her ladyship. So she said, go and sit down, I'll bring it over. And we went to sit down. He said, you normally pay, what's going on? And before I could say anything, my dad comes stomping through, swung the chair round, squatted right down. He said, well, who are you?
Frightened the life out of him.
It did, he nearly went off the back of the chair. I said, oh, this is my dad. And he said afterwards, why didn't you tell me? I said, I didn't know you were going to take me there. I said, I always thought it was the best fish and chip restaurant because I'd even worked there for my dad on a Saturday night. Yeah. But I said it wasn't because it was the best.
What's the chances of that? That's bizarre, isn't it?
It is bizarre.
God.
It really is bizarre that could happen.
So obviously your husband-to-be did a good job.
Oh, yes.
Good.
So, good. Yeah, we're still together, so it can't be like
that. Well,
there
we are. That's extremely good. How bizarre, though. So obviously you continued a relationship with your father. You said he left, but
I did. I did. It was difficult for my mum, but she just stayed her side. He stayed his.
Yeah.
But didn't really want to lose that contact and sort of thing. I mean, I didn't see him I did see him every week when I was working in the fish and chip restaurant. But then he would go away with Bonnie, Fanny, whatever you want to call her. And they had a 30-foot cabin cruiser. So they'd go off on that. And I'd stay in the flat.
Right.
And then one night, it must have been about 3 or 4 in the morning, must have been Monday or whatever, Tuesday coming back. And our phone went. My mum got up and answered. And I'd hear my mum shouting, how dare you? And then I sort of went, what's wrong, Mum? She says, your father's just accused you of burgling him. I said, I beg your pardon?
What?
What had happened, they'd been broken into while I was in there.
Oh.
I hadn't heard anything. And as my mum said to him, you could have lost your daughter.
Yeah.
She could have been killed. Yeah. Anything could have happened to her.
My God, you never heard anything? Well, that was lucky.
No, because I was up in the flat, you see, and it was a big
yeah.
flat.
They had a 30-foot cabin cruiser.
Mm-hmm.
So he did quite well.
He did. Yeah, he was an appalling man.
So you got married, you carried on living in London. At what point did you leave London?
Oh, now, where were we? We had Krista, Lorna, Ian, Ali, and Owen had to come up to Davison Mains. Well, it was St Fergus, he was over there for 2 years, so I came up and the children and everything. So the kids went to school here, the ones that could, and for the others. And that was great. We thoroughly enjoyed all that. And then, of course, we had to go back. And our youngest son, Alistair, Ali, he was born in Davison Mains. He's the only one born in Scotland. Right. The others were all born in London. So we got back, and I suppose it would be about not quite a year later, even if it was that. Owen was walking through the office or whatever, and his boss said, "Suppose you won't go to Scotland. Nobody else will." He said, "Yeah, when do you want me to go?" He said, "Oh no, the wife." He said, "Well, watch this." So Owen phoned me up. He says, "Just been asked to go back to Scotland to work." And I said, "Right, when do you want me to pack my case?" And the guy just didn't know what to say. He said, "You're joking." He said, "No, I'm not." So then what we did, as my mum used to say, we were going home to die in those days, because she was a Scot. She was down in London, down there all a young girl. So we said, "Well, Mum, what we'll do is you'll keep your flat. You can keep the rent," because she used to have a student or something staying, things like that. And I said, "We'll sell ours because we want to buy up a house up or buy something when we got up." Yeah. And then the next thing, just as we're getting ready to go, she says, "When can we sell the flat?" And I said, "What do you mean?" I said, where are you going?" She said, "I'm coming back to Scotland to my family."
Oh, wow.
So, and that's what happened.
Gosh, so you all moved up. Well, that was
we
lovely.
moved first, and then she came up later, because our eldest son then had decided he wanted to be a student.
Right.
Up until then, all he wasn't interested, he was just going to work. And he said no, he was working with young guys at the weekend who were students and things. He says, "I want to be a student." So my mum stayed there. He stayed with her. We gave her rent, something for it, and she fed him.
So, that worked out well.
So that worked out fine. He's a senior scientist now.
Good grief. Gosh.
So, as I say, he went back a bit later than everybody else, but managed.
So did your mum move up to Edinburgh?
Yes, she did. She came up to, well, we were out at, we went up to Aberdeenshire to start with.
Oh, yes, right.
So we were staying up at Mintlaw.
Right.
So she stayed in Aberdeen itself. It all worked out lovely.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I'd ring up and say, "Right, Mum, we're going to come through on Saturday." "Don't bother. I'm going away to Thailand for a week and what have you. See her cousins and aunties and everything else."
Oh, gosh. So that was really good for her.
Oh, it was. She thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a good time for her.
Yeah. But obviously it really worked out for you. Cause
it did. Ali, the one born in Scotland, is now down in London. Well, he's out by Byfleet.
Well, isn't that odd?
It is. It's his job, sort of thing. Yeah. So, Christopher, the oldest one, they're in Glasgow. Right. He's got the adopted 2 little boys, him and Richard.
Oh, wow.
They got married.
Fantastic.
And they adopted 2 little boys. And they're gorgeous. But
that's great.
Our daughter's still up in Aberdeenshire. She's up in New Deer. And then we've got the son that lives here in Edinburgh, who's got 1 little boy. So they live by the links.
Oh, right. Okay.
So we see them quite regular.
Oh, right. So you've got plenty of wee ones.
Oh,
in your life.
yeah. We've got 8 grandchildren, 1 great grandchild as well.
You don't look old enough to have
thank
a great
you. You made my day.
I have to say. But you did travel about quite a lot, didn't you?
Yes, my husband worked away a lot. To start with, when the kids were growing up and that, obviously I stayed at home. He'd go out maybe on a Monday morning, back on a Friday, things like that. And then as they got a bit older, he was offered to go to Singapore. Wow. So he went out first for the first 6 weeks to settle and see the work and everything. Yeah. Come back and he said, "No, the thing is you can come out too, it's not a problem," because the company were going to pay for his accommodation, which would be mine as well, and everything else. So I said, "Oh yes, that'd be great." And then I thought, no, I can't leave the kids. And of course I said to them, no, I'm going to stay at home. I said, "The dog and you lot." Yeah. And Ian, the son that lives here in Edinburgh, said, "Mum, you told us when we were grown up to go out and grab the world by your hands. And I said, yes. He said, well, why are you not going with Dad? It's your turn to be with Dad. We're growing up. We're all right. I said, what about Jet, the dog? My daughter turned around and says, we're taking Jet.
Wow.
So I got to go to Singapore. We were there for over 2 years. South Korea for over 2 years.
Now that is quite unusual, isn't it?
It was. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
And again, what sort of period are we talking about? You're in South Korea.
Oh gosh, I lose track of all those sort of things. Because then Owen went to Norway, and I went out there for about 7 years.
These are quite. Tell me again what your husband did.
He's an engineer, but he does like the drawings and things for. He's not on the projects. He's making sure you've got the money, or you can't have the money, or what you can have, and all that sort of. I'm not really quite up to date with all that, but.
And what's the industry again he's in?
Be oil and gas.
Right.
So it's good. He enjoys what he's doing.
And how did you find South Korea? Because it's quite a different culture, isn't it?
It's a very different culture. After saying that, it's very safe, thinking about what goes on with the North with them, but you felt comfortable.
Yeah.
Like, I used to call it a buddy bonding, where Owen's, the men would get together, have some supper or whatever, and talk about the work.
Oh, yeah.
And Owen would phone me and say, right, that's just going over to the pub. And I just said, right, I'll be down in about 5 minutes, whatever, get ready and waddle down. But I didn't feel uncomfortable. Brightly lit and things like that. And they were so interesting people. They so wanted to learn English. They so wanted to understand life and things like that. They were very, friendly, considering what they've been through.
Yes, absolutely, totally. Did you ever get up towards the border with North Korea?
No, didn't want to know about that one.
No, because that's still very much a kind of issue, isn't it?
Well, it is, it still is. Yeah. They still were doing every so often they'd do a practice run in case anything went wrong. You had to go, especially in flats, and you went right downstairs into the basements and low down and out the way, and you locked the doors and all sorts of things.
So it's
they set up their alarm going and things like that.
God.
So quite frightening when it went off. But
yeah. And Singapore, what was that like?
Oh, Singapore was wonderful. Yeah. That was really safe, green, clean. Well, it was beautiful. Loved it. And we went to different places from there, like Bali and places, because we could. Yeah. And it was just wonderful.
Incredible life, isn't it?
And we had we had a flat, but outside you had your swimming pool thing and everything, and it was like tropical and things like that. So you could sit out in the sun or sit under these sort of bamboo tree things and that. It was good. It was really lovely.
The wee girl from Kilburn did quite well for herself.
She did.
Thank you for listening to episode 45 of the Seagrove Sessions. Diana's stories. For more information about the Seagrove Sessions and more episodes of our podcasts, go to www.seagrovecentre.org.uk. Follow us on Facebook, NEDC, the Seagrove Centre. Catch you in the next one.